Do you believe that money can't buy happiness? What if believing that is what's stopping you from building your dream life? As a kid, when I said I wanted to be rich, adults said money isn't everything. But I've been the kind of poor where you live four people in the same room, where all our clothes had patches on them, and I had to choose between a slice of pizza and a bottle of water for lunch at school. Then, over the following decades, I saved and invested and built companies, and today I have enough that I could retire. And I'll tell you this, when rich people say money doesn't matter, it's mostly to stop others from feeling jealous. Maybe you've heard about the famous research which claimed that earning more than $70,000 a year doesn't make you happier. A few years ago, this was all over the news, but as it turns out, it's simply not true. A 2023 paper by Matthew Killingsworth, Daniel Kahneman, and Barbara Mellers re-examined the data. And what they found was that happiness actually keeps increasing, even at much higher income levels. Now look, it's true that buying material goods like big houses or fancy cars is not going to make you happy. But money buys you peace of mind because you don't need to worry about paying for food or rent. And money buys experiences. Because of my savings, I've been able to build businesses and travel and donate to causes that matter to me. Money alone is not enough, but it really helps. And that's especially true if you avoid this one big money pitfall, which makes so many wealthy people miserable. And I will explain it in a moment, but first I need to address a different point. So if you're in your 40s or 50s, you might think, I should have started building wealth in my 20s, it's too late now. But here's the thing, if I paused this video and asked you to think of 5 missed financial opportunities in your life, could you do it? For example, I still regret not investing in the stock market back in 2009. I was a young banker on Wall Street. It was the financial crisis. Stocks were super cheap, but I got scared and I didn't invest and I missed that opportunity. For you, maybe it's something different. That one skill you didn't learn, that job you didn't take, the Bitcoin or Apple or Nvidia stock you didn't buy. You can think of an opportunity that you missed, right? And actually, if I asked you to think of 10 or 20 missed opportunities, you could probably do it. On the one hand, that's depressing. We all miss way more opportunities than we use. But when you think about it, it is also evidence that we all have way more opportunities than we need, right? Because just one good opportunity can turn around your life. As Richard Branson said, opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. And just because you didn't take the last bus or the one before that doesn't mean you can't still get to your destination and have a good time. And the thing is, your financial situation can change faster than you would believe. Less than 10 years ago, at age 30, I was broke. I had 900 euros in the bank, no car, no assets, and a pregnant wife. But then over the next 9 years, through working hard and saving and investing and starting 2 businesses, and also, yes, a bit of luck, I got to 7 figures. But even without entrepreneurship, even if I had simply worked really hard and cut my expenses and invested 1,000 euros a month for 10 years, I mean, assuming a return of 9% per year, that would have been almost 200,000 euros. And the actual profit in the market over the past 10 years was significantly higher than that. 200,000 euros is enough to start changing anybody's life, right? So my second point is this. Don't worry about the opportunities you've missed. We've all got plenty of those. Take advantage of the opportunities you have in front of you right now. How can you make more money? What can you do to cut costs and start saving? And how can you start investing so that your money grows? In a moment, I'll share some practical steps for this. But first, I want to give you my money superpower, okay? I call it the reset method. And this is what has allowed me to save and invest with discipline for the past 9 years. I call it the reset method because it used to be that with computers, you had to reset them on a regular basis. Otherwise, they got slower and wouldn't get anything done. In my experience, something similar happens with financial goals. Let's say you decide to save and invest, and for the first few weeks you're motivated, you're excited, you're controlling your costs and putting money aside. But then life happens. Maybe you've got a big project at work that keeps you busy, and then your car breaks down, you need to spend some money, and slowly saving and investing moves further and further down the priority list until a few months later you're back to living paycheck to paycheck. In order to prevent this, I reset my priorities. Every morning as I walk to the office, I talk to myself about what are my financial priorities, where I am today, and what I need to do today to move myself closer to my goals. And by the way, this also works great if you want to go to the gym or eat healthy or stay off your phone. Some people in my life think I'm super disciplined, but actually, I'm not more disciplined than anybody else. It's just that when I remind myself what I need to do every day, I find it easy to stay on track. And I'm confident that if you do the reset, if every morning for the next 10 years you remind yourself of your financial goals, you will end up in a whole different place than today. And that brings us to a critical mental skill that you also need to develop, which is as you succeed financially, as you build wealth, how do you make sure that it makes you happy instead of miserable? And the challenge is this. So imagine that you go into your boss's office and he says, "Congratulations, you've been promoted. Instead of 3,000 euros a month, you are now going to be making 4,000." You would be happy, right? But what if later that day you heard a rumor that your colleague Peter, who does less work, got promoted and is making 5,000 euros a month? Suddenly that happiness would evaporate, right? Or let's say there is no Peter. Would you stay happy forever? Well, of course not. In a few months, you would start thinking about the next promotion, the next level in your financial progress. This is not actually a bad thing. It keeps us motivated to make more progress in life. But you do have to master the mental game. You have to realize what's happening. Otherwise, you can get trapped in this endless cycle of chasing more and more and more money and never being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. To deal with this, imagine that you're on the London Underground and you hear this voice.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
What you want to mind is the gap between where you are today and where you would like to be financially, because this gap has the power to make you unhappy. Dan Sullivan has a great book about this called The Gap and the Gain. But the basic idea is you want to learn how to appreciate what you have as well as focusing on what's coming up next. There are different practical ways you can do this. For example, my wife and I, as we go to bed each night, we tell each other 3 good things that happened that day. On my morning reset walk, I also take a moment to feel gratitude for my health, for my family, and also for my finances and how far I've come. At work, every week we have a meeting where every colleague shares some achievement or positive observation from the past week. If you consciously take the time to appreciate what you already have, then you are much, much more likely to be happy as a rich person and much less likely to be miserable. So that's mindset. But what about practical steps? Well, I've been a professional investor for 18 years. And in this video, I share a step-by-step guide to how you can start building your wealth through investing if you live in Europe.